So I'm not in the car today, so that's different, right? I just wanted to share something very powerful that I was exposed to this morning, some information that I was exposed to. And it was so strong. Like, I couldn't really shake it off of me because I had a dream about it. I dreamt about a man who seemed to have everything that he wanted. He had friends, he had, joy, he had, fun and everything. He was put in a situation where this is all a dream now. This is not real life. He was put in a situation because of the people that he hung out with, where he had to be investigated, and this investigation led the police to resolve that he was innocent. However, they did find something very disturbing in his basement. And I think this probably should be a story. This is crazy, but like, for me to write it in a book, it's really like some Stephen King type stuff. But so this guy was the police have found some videotapes of this man being intimate with something that had died, something that was deceased. And I'm talking about physical intimacy, like sex. It was crazy, y'all. I was like, oh my God, throw up in my mouth. But the dream was so vivid and it was so real that when I woke up, I immediately was like seized. Like, God, what in the world are you trying to tell me? What am I doing, God? Tell me. Like, that's the first person I always look at. Lord, show me. I'm sorry. I don't even know what it was, Jesus, but I'm sorry. And then I started to pray, and I started to ask God for clarification and revelation, because something like that is not normal by any means. But God told me, he said, Michelle, people are walking throughout their daily lives. They're going about their lives, as if everything is good, everything is okay. And their desire to be intimate, their desire to put their energy into, and their compassion and their intentions into something that has died, has to come to an end. He said, I'm going to expose the things that are dead in folks' lives so that they can understand that there needs to be a redirection. And that redirection is in an effort for God to push us towards abundance and towards things that are going to reciprocate what we actually give. And the thing that I found in this dream was that this man was so passionate, y'all, about this dead thing. This thing that could not respond to him. This thing that could not reciprocate what he was giving. This thing that could not become as intimate as he was with it. And I began to see what God was trying to tell me. He said, so many of my people, so many of my children are stuck in a mentality where they give more allegiance to things that are not beneficial or that serve no more purpose for them. Like, and then I started thinking about friendships. I started thinking about, people that I'm attached to, things that I'm attached to, concepts that I'm attached to. It doesn't always necessarily have to mean that it's a person or a place, but it could be a concept. Concepts that I'm attached to that serve me no purpose, that give me nothing, that is absolutely dead. And how do you define something that's dead? If you constantly think about the ground, right? The earth. If you constantly seed something and nothing comes out of it. If you constantly put into a bank account and you go to withdraw and there's a zero balance, that means that situation, that arrangement is dead. There is nothing that you can get from it. And Christ said that I came that you might have life, and life more abundantly. Even let's even take it to the Bible. When Christ died, and the people that were around his grave, they said, this is a disposition they were in. It's Luke 24:5. As they were afraid and bowed down their faces to the earth, they said unto them, Why seek ye the living among the dead? They loved Christ. They were passionate about Christ. But Christ was no longer there in that capacity anymore. Christ was not present in the flesh anymore. It was gone. That connection, that thing that you seek, that they would seek out of Christ, it was gone, and it was going to be revealed later. However, but think about the disposition they were in. They were full of fear, right? Sometimes we don't leave situations, places, or things because we're afraid. Like, what am I going to do without the memory of this person? What am I going to do without what I used to get from this person? What am I going to do if I am not fulfilled the way I used to be fulfilled before? However, you will not be fulfilled, period, because it's dead, right? It's no longer living. And bowed down their faces to the earth. They were depressed. They were sad. And these are the two things that preceded the revelation period for their freedom. As they were afraid, they were in fear. They were living and operating in fear and bowed down their faces to the earth. They were depressed. They didn't have any joy. People around them had to tell them, why seek ye the living among the dead? God wants to give us abundance. God wants us to live a happy life, a fulfilling life. And you cannot live a fulfilled life if you're constantly sowing into something that is not alive, something that is not producing anything, something that's not responding, right? I know a person right now who lost her husband about 10 years ago, and she has not recovered. And every time I have a dream about this person, I dream that she's actually sleeping next to her dead husband in the ground. But she's alive and her husband is not. The one thing that will keep you in the allegiance to the dead or in allegiance to something that is not alive anymore is your need and your desire to be personally fulfilled like you once were. You're constantly looking for that thing that feels the same. You're constantly looking for a memory to hold on to that will bring back that feeling. However, you don't understand the exchange that when you are sowing into something dead, you're not going to get anything back. You're not. You're just going to be constantly depleting yourself of energy, resources, time, money, intimacy. And God said to tell my people to live. Tell my people that their allegiance to that dead thing, that thing that has passed, that thing whose time has come to an end, that thing whose foundation was built on so much love and caring, but it just doesn't exist anymore. It's like being in a relationship with a person that doesn't love you back. You can't be mad at God. You can't. You can't be upset or angry with God because you are choosing. That is your choice. Right? You're choosing to live in a disposition where you cannot be fulfilled at all. Why seek ye the living among the dead? We got to ask God to change our desires, to change our perception, how we receive information. If you're in a situation where you aren't getting what you're giving, or you no longer are receiving the fulfillment that you used to receive, in spite of communicating your needs and desires, and no one changes, you've got to ask God to reveal what is dead in your life. And once God reveals what is dead, you have to ask God to give you the strength to move on and to move forward. And if that dead thing be a concept, a way of thinking, a way of living, a way of applying your knowledge and wisdom, It could be a person that does not love you back, a person that has put you through more hell than you necessarily need to be going through, a person that doesn't care about your well-being, or you know what a dead relationship is. I don't have to explain it. Or a dead situation. You're in a church that doesn't give you, that no longer gives you the things that you need, and it's not growing. Why seek ye the living among the dead? I mean, these are just a few examples, but this is very broad. We've got to understand that life is the goal. Living is the goal. Being happy and fulfilled is the goal. Anything that prevents you from doing that, we've got to pray and ask God to help us to sever those ties. So that's all that I have for today. God bless you. Have a good day.